Hey there guys, in this video we're going to do a tier list just for fun. This is purely for entertainment, this has nothing to do with meta, etc. But I am going to be ranking the storyline characters of Brave Exvius in a tier list. Now this is completely just my opinion and what I think of the characters, and this is the kind of videos you get when we have nothing going on in Brave Exvius and I'm just bored and feel like making a video. So we're going to go over the main story characters. Keep that in mind. This is only the main story characters, meaning even though there are some really good storyline characters like, Bran and Lunera are some really popular storylines from the side stories, that kind of stuff was not in the main story of Brave Exvius. So anyone that had a standalone, unrelated story event, we're not going to go over. Same thing for like alternate universe characters like, Dark Reign or Deoxys, which wasn't part of the main storyline. We're not going to cover those either. And the last thing is we're not going to be covering units that didn't actually get a playable unit. So, for example, Lid's brother Evan, or Dr. Lazarov, or like Distork from Season 2, even though they're interesting units and worth talking about, if you want the simple fact of the matter, it's too much work to get their sprites because they don't have a unit sprite, and I'm not digging through all the monster sprites to get sprites for those units. Anyway, let's go over and I'm going to discuss and just rank the storyline characters based roughly on their order of release. And for units that got 7 different versions like Reign, we're just going with the base version. Now there's a few exceptions to the rule, like for example the Veritas characters. They have like the Water Veritas and then Folka. I'm going to rank them separately because in my opinion they're so drastically different in the story that they may as well be 2 different characters because their personality completely changes, and I like different versions, different amounts. Other ones like Reign, for example. Reign has been pretty steady. Even though he's had like 7 or 8 different versions in the story, he's, for the most part, been pretty steady. Anyway, let's start right with it with the literal protagonist of Brave Exvius, Reign. How are we going to rank him? Oh, and by the way, the last thing I should mention, this is ranking them purely on storyline value. This has nothing to do with them as a unit, as a battle unit. So someone like a 3-star that is completely worthless on a real party, they might get a top tier rank if they were cool in the story. So this has nothing to do with how strong they are as a unit. Keep that in mind. Okay, so Reign as a storyline character. Now he's the one that, him and Laswell have been here since literally the beginning. They've been in not all the seasons, but they've had at least minor parts in some of the later seasons. Obviously season 1, Reign and Laswell were a really big deal, etc. But Reign still has had an overall great presence. And honestly speaking, I kind of like Reign. I'm going to list him just as awesome. He's pretty cool. I like him for overall. He's he's a little bit cliche, like he's the lawful good paladin. I'm going to do good no matter what, no matter how unreasonable or how absurd doing the right thing is going to be. I will always do it. Which is, it's a cliche and it's a little D&D lawful good. But still, it's fine. I mean, it's his character. He's the good guy. He's the pure good guy. And yeah, he's really cool. I like him. He's good. So I'm going to rank him in the awesome tier. And Laswell. And Laswell gets a lot of jokes for being like the sidekick. You've got the more, lewd jokes with Reign and all that. But overall, honestly speaking, I think Laswell is a pretty decent character. Season 2, I feel like, Season 2 was supposed to be Laswell's primary season. I do feel like Season 2 kind of hurt him and made him, to be slightly insulting, more of like a beta personality in Season 2. But still, I think he's overall a good character. But I don't think he's quite as cool as Reigns. So he's going to go in just the interesting tier. Like, I still like Lastwell quite a bit, but he does have that, like, sidekick persona going on with him, even though he's supposed to be, like, Reigns' equal for the most part. I still feel like he's a little bit pushed to the side. And again, this has nothing to do with him as a unit. Fina is, again, for me, my opinion, I think Fina is, again, pretty similar to Lastwell. She's just like that really like I'm gonna be a follower type personality. I'm not gonna lead anything. In season 3, I do know season 3, she's like the main character, and she is like the party leader in season 3, and she does have, you know, her own thoughts in season 3. But even so, it just feels like even in season 3, where she's like the primary party leader, she's always looking to the rest of the party for, like, you know, confirmation and stuff. And again, I feel like she's just not a real strong, like, alpha personality. So I'm going to put her just, like, as an interesting, like, you know, there's nothing wrong with being just, like, a party member or something. But the game tries to push her, especially in Season 3, as, like, this big leader character, and I just don't see it. I don't see it. But even so, overall, I still like Fina. You know, again, Season 3 does lower her value for me because Season 3 is just a train wreck. But I still think Fina's fine. So those are kind of the 3 primary characters of Brave Exvius: Reign, Lastwell, and Fina. And I do feel like all 3 main characters are pretty good. I don't hate any of them, so they're fine. Then we have Lid. Lid is she's a little hard to rank. So, I mean, the game really just makes you not take Lid kind of seriously, because her, and when we get to him, Jake, like, the two of them early on in Season 1, like, they're fine. Lid helps out with, you know, the engineering type stuff and the airship and all that, and she's got her brother Evan, and they really are kind of critical in Season 1. But then, like, starting actually later in Season 1, and then from then on going into Season 2, Lid and Jake, when we get there, become such, like, a stupid, idiotic trope. Like, every single scene they ruin by this idiocy of, like, Jake makes a suggestion and Lid smacks him with a hammer. Like, it's so dumb. Are we, like, trying to do, like, a serious story, or are we like watching Looney Tunes, you know? It really just derails every scene they're in. So I'm going to have to just put her in annoying. And honestly, it's mostly because they really do just ruin every scene they're in. Now, I do know Lid and Jake do have, like, a more serious side story in Season 2, where Jake gets blinded and Lid is, like, at his side, like, really worried for him. And that's pretty cool. It does salvage them a little bit. But by the time we get there in Season 2, and, like, Lid and Jake have gone through 17 different scenes where there's, like, this big serious threat, like meteors dropping from the black materia or something, and then the solution is Jake says something and Lid hits him with a hammer. Like, that got old after one time, and they do it, like, 17 different times. It ruined the character for me. I just can't take it anymore. Charlotte is... Okay, this one might be a little controversial, but again, this is just my opinion. I know she's pretty popular. Honestly, I feel like she's just there. Like, she's got some scenes, and she's a pretty important character in quite a few scenes. But as I go back and, like, think of Charlotte and what did she really do in the story, I kind of draw a blank. I'm like, yeah, she was there. She did some stuff. What did she do? I don't remember. And that says it all for me. Like, it was not memorable enough for me to make an impression. So, you know, maybe she's someone's favorite character, but it's just like, for me, like, I don't remember specifically what she even did. Like, I know she was there for a lot of scenes, but I don't remember any of it. So, she was just there. Whatever. But I don't remember disliking her. So, there you go. Nicole is hard to rank for me. I like Nicole, and I do... And first of all, before people jump on me for the name. I know some people say his name is Nickel, like the coin. I have never in my life heard someone called Nickel. So I'm going to call him Nicole, even though it's like a feminine name. I've never heard someone named Nickel. Like, okay. Anyway, so Nicole is how I'm saying it. He's a pretty cool character. I like him relatively. I like his archetype, like the quiet genius, so to speak, is kind of like his role in the story. He's pretty cool. He's pretty consistent. He definitely never, in my opinion, feels out of character or out of place, like Lid and Jake started to do. So yeah, I'm going to rank Nicole as interesting. I liked him. I thought it was pretty cool. You know, he had his whole, he's like the genius, etc., and he played his part well. I thought it was fine. Mercedes only had a small role in Season 1. Now, if I don't rank Mercedes in the awesome tier, SXM is going to hunt me down and, like, smack me, and it'll turn into, like, a, Lid and Jake situation. So we're going to have to rank her decently. But as much as I don't want to offend SXM, I think Mercedes was, like, just there. Like, I know she played a really big role for a small portion of Season 1 in the Olderian storyline. Like, you have to get on her pirate ship, then the pirate ship is attacked by ghost pirates. By memory, this is a long time ago, but I think it was like you were attacked by ghost pirates, and then after she gets you across the continent, well, there she goes. You never see her again. So Mercedes was definitely very, very cool for her, one little character arc, and I liked her a lot. But you really can't say she was an overall big character in the story. I think she also had a side story during like a story event. But again, we're not really considering story events because those are unconnected from the main story. So yeah, so Mercedes, she was just there. I liked her. I thought she was very cool for her small role in the story. But while she was there, I liked her a lot. Almost enough to put her into interesting, but honestly, I think she was just in the story for way too short of a time to give her a higher rank. Dark Fina. Now, I know Dark Fina and Fina are sort of the same character, but honestly not really, because they're like, I'm not an expert in the story. They're like the same person, but their souls were split at creation or something. I don't know the whole lore of the system, but she's basically a different character. Overall, I thought Dark Fina was pretty cool. She's a little bit of like a mixed character because on the one hand, she is like, a villain, so to speak, where she's part of the Sages of Hess and they're like against you for a lot of the story early on. Then later, the Sages of Hess, pretty much all join you, or the surviving ones, I should say, not all of them. And Dark Fina also helps you during the majority of it. And then she's a big deal in Season 1. Then in Season 2, she's also kind of a big deal because her and, I should warn people right now, you should probably already know this, but there's going to be heavy spoilers during this. So if you're not caught up on the whole storyline of Brave Exvius and you don't want spoilers, this video is probably not for you. Because, yeah, we're going to be having some spoilers. So Dark Fina in Season 2, her and Rain were basically the whole reason for Season 2. So she was a pretty major character, and I think overall she was interesting. I liked her. Again, most of these characters do sort of fall into like a cliche, and Dark Fina is too, the all-powerful unit, etc., etc. And you really, when you're doing like a JRPG, you have to just accept a lot of characters will be either a cliche or a trope, and you can't just penalize everyone, because if you do that, everyone's getting a penalty for that reason. So yeah, sure, she had some cliches, but whatever. She was fine. I enjoyed her. L is okay. So this is back in Season 1, and this is pretty long ago. By memory, L. Oh my God, he was someone's brother. I think it was Luca's brother. I'm pretty sure it was Luca's brother. And again, like Mercedes, he was a pretty cool character, and I thought he was pretty cool. He by memory, he went and fought against Water Veritas, and Water Veritas killed him, or hurt him, and made him retreat. In any case, he tried to save the day by going and attacking Water Veritas. Didn't work out, and he basically lost, and Yeah, that was kind of his little story arc. But overall, I thought it was pretty cool. But again, because it was just such a small role on a small side arc in the story, like, it was a small little story in Olderian. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. So I'm going to put him, like, he was just there. Like, it's more than filler. Kind of almost filler, but no, he was just there, and I enjoyed it. He was cool. But again, just like Mercedes, his arc was there and over in, like, 4 dungeons. Luca, I'm going to rank a little bit. It's technically, she also has a small story arc, but I feel like even though her story arc was relatively short and then you don't really hear from her ever again, I feel like her arc was pretty important. The whole Leviathan thing, where she sinks beneath the ocean and she's like there to, again, I'm not a story expert, but like she's keeping Leviathan calm or pure or something and protecting Alderaan because she went under into the water shrine. I don't know the specifics. This was like 7 years ago. But overall, I thought it was pretty cool, pretty interesting. Also, I do know she comes back in the 8th anniversary as a relatively important character. So we're going to rank her as interesting. I kind of liked Luca. I thought she was pretty cool. Then we have Jake. So we already covered Jake a little bit during Lid. Honestly speaking, I think Jake in the early part of Season 1 was very cool. I mean, a lot of people don't remember, but Jake had a really cool storyline. I can't remember the name of his country. Zoldad, I think. I think it was Zoldad. But yeah, the whole storyline of Jake is he's actually the, like, bastard prince son of Emperor Soze. Like, Emperor Soze had an affair with, like, a maid or something and had Jake, and Jake is the half son, or the son of the emperor, but not his wife. He was the son of an affair, so therefore he got banished. But then when his dad, Emperor Soze, went corrupted or insane, he was trying to do a revolution to take over his country to save his brother Shira, who was the full-blooded prince. And I thought that storyline was really cool and really good. And Jake was a great character really early on. And it wasn't until the end of Season 1 and then the entirety of Season 2 that Jake went from a cool, interesting character to a complete joke like Lid. Like, they turned him into a total meme. Also, they turned him into a pedophile. Like, let's just be honest here. Lid's like 14 years old and Jake's like 25 or something. I don't know the exact ages, but Lid is definitely underaged and Jake is definitely overaged. And those two, like, Jake is constantly be creeping, like, let me get in your pants to Lid. And that was weird. Let's just be polite and say it's weird. So as much as I really liked Jake in the early part of Season 1, like, the writers just ruined him. They ruined him so hard at the end of Season 1 and going into Season 2. Like, once his whole continental arc of Zoldad was done, they just killed the character, and he was horrible at that point. So yeah, sorry Jake, but you were cool for a while, and they ruined you. Shira, like I mentioned, is Jake's brother. He's the full-blooded royal prince of Zoldad. Once Jake takes over the country, he passes the leadership to Shira because he's the proper prince or whatever. Shira was cool. Honestly, didn't do a whole lot in the story. He was kind of just there, but almost he was more like just filler. Like, he was just filler. Honestly, he just wasn't that big a deal. You know, he was there. He had a few scenes. He was interesting, but not that interesting. He was just filler. He's fine. Sakura. So I mentioned a few minutes ago that you've really got to forgive the cliches and the tropes and all that. But honestly, Sakura, her trope is one that I can't stand. The whole idea of, like, I'm this ancient 1,000-year-old being in the body of, like, a 6-year-old girl. Like, I'm gonna be insulting right now, so I don't want to insult anybody, but oh my god, I'm going to. Like, I feel like this trope was really specifically designed to be, like, a politically correct way to market materials to people that are into that. I'm gonna leave it at that. I do not like this trope of the ancient being, but they're legal because they're in the body of a 6-year-old. Oh my god, I don't like it. I don't like it. That being said, if we look past the whole lolly thing, honestly, I do kind of like Sakura's character a little bit. She's like this arrogant know-it-all, but at the same time, she's not like overbearing, if I can explain it. So, how do I rank her? Like, well, if we just forgive the whole ancient being thing, if we just look past that, then we're going to rank her purely on personality. I'm going to say, like, just there. Like, I don't love her or anything because the whole arrogant thing does get a little bit grating to me. You know, she's too arrogant. Like, she thinks she knows best. And the way she calls everyone, like, dear and stuff. I don't know. I just don't like that. I think it's a little too condescending for my taste. But I don't hate her. I don't hate her. I hate the trope of her. I don't hate her, though. So we're going to put her in just there. Emperor Soze, honestly speaking, was just filler. Again, he was, I mean, he was like a major bad guy for the Zoldad arc. And it was kind of interesting. I forget the exact storyline of him. I'm not sure if it was like he was corrupted, or maybe he just got power hungry, or maybe he was mind controlled. I think it was like mind control or something, because Dr. Lazarov did it, didn't he? Dr. Lazarov. I do know Dr. Lazarov was the reason Soze turned evil, for whatever reason. Either mind control, corruption, brainwashing, or just tempted by power. I don't know. In any case, I mean, we're going to put him in filler. Like, because again, the character himself was in, like, one scene. Like, when you arrive to the throne room, you fight him, and he dies. Like, he's got 30 seconds of screen time, and you never see him again. They talk about him quite a bit, and Jake mentions him during the whole arc of Zoldad, but the character himself is, like, in one scene. So he's just filler. Eileen has a relatively small role in the actual story. She's an airship engineer, just like Lid, just like Evan. I believe by memory, she's like the royal engineer for the whole kingdom of Grandshelt. This is by memory, long time ago, season 1. But yeah, she's honestly just filler. Like, she's in like 2 scenes. You go to her, you get an airship, you fly away, bye Eileen, never see you again. And yeah, she's just filler. Veritas of the Dark is basically the main bad guy for 90% of season 1. Like, you fight him in Earthshrine. Like, he is introduced right away in season 1. You fight him in Earthshrine is literally the second dungeon of the entire game. The first dungeon, but the second stage. The Earthshrine is 2 stages. Yeah, you fight him right away, and then he is a recurring, constant threat through the entirety of Season 1. It's not till, like, the very last continent where it turns out that Veritas of the Dark is not actually the bad guy. He's the vision of Reagan, and he's not really there. And then Saul and Behemoth turn up as, like, the real bad guys of Season 1. The whole switcheroo thing at the very end. But still, for the majority of Season 1, it's Veritas of the Dark. And honestly speaking, I thought he was really cool. His sprite was really good. His, the writing was relatively decent. He was ominous. He was there for multiple scenes. You kept running into him. Like, for me, that's a really important part of being a good villain, is actually being present. Like, villains where, like, you see them once, maybe twice the entire game, like, that's not a villain to me. That's just like an absentee bad guy. But Veritas of the Dark, like, he was there, and he was the villain for the entirety of Season 1. And he was great. I thought he was a really good villain. unfortunate that they kind of pulled the rug out from under him at the end of season 1, like, the whole time. Ha ha ha, it's not really been him. That was unnecessary. He could have easily been the real villain the whole time, but they kind of switched it at the last second. I'm not going to hold that against him, because he really did have a good presence through all of season 1. Viridius of the Flame in season 1, honestly, he did have 1 or 2 scenes, but for the most part, he was just there. Like, he wasn't really a major... I do think... which one was it? I know the different Viridiuses had different I think he was Zoldad, maybe? Where he was, like, had one or two scenes in Zoldad, and then he pops up, like, 1 or 2 more times during the story. But really, for the most part, he was kind of just, like, a side character in season 1. He was just there. He was fine. He was just there. Viridius of the Earth. Honestly speaking, I'm going to have to put him in interesting just because of that shield. I think it is so awesome that they made a character that literally holds the demon wall from Final Fantasy IV. That is just such a cool character design. I love it so much. So that's just my personal bias. Even though, as a character, again, he didn't have a ton of presence in season 1. He was mostly just, like, kind of there. Like, you had, like, 3 or 4 fights against him, but he didn't really have, like, a lot of story, not a lot of dialogue. Like, he would just pop up every now and then in a cutscene. He'd be like, I'll go take care of this. And that's all he really did. But still, just for the fact that he's holding the demon wall is awesome. So he's getting bumped up a tier for that reason. Viridius of the Light is, honestly speaking, one of the main bad guys in season 1. She mostly takes place in the Mysidia area because, the whole thing with Sakura and Citra, the whole story. She definitely had a large presence in season 1, probably the 3rd highest presence in season, or maybe the 2nd highest after Viridius of the Dark. But yeah, she was... It's hard to decide if I want to put her in interesting or just there. Like, 'cause she was a decent character, and again, she was kind of the mastermind behind Dark Viridius. I'm gonna put her in interesting because it was kind of interesting. The whole reason she did what she did is, and again, forgive my poor memory and not being the biggest lore fanatic, but by memory, I think because she killed Raygon's wife, Rain's mother, she felt bad about that, and that's why Raygon left her. Yeah, Citra killed Sophia, Raygon's wife, Rain's mom, killed her by accident, I believe. I think it was by accident. But Raygon got pissed and cut Citra off because of that. So Citra summoned a vision of Raygon, which is Dark Viridius, and that's why he was there in season 1. This is 6 years ago. Correct me in the comments if I'm forgetting the whole basics. But yeah, that's kind of the whole reason the Viridius are running around being crazy, because Raygon left Citra. Citra is the insane ex-girlfriend. Seriously. So yeah, so I found that pretty interesting. I liked it. Viridius of the Wind. As much as an impact as he made as, like, the first time you probably ever lost a battle in Brave Exvius was against the Viridius of the Wind ambush in season 1. I bet you most players that played and were newbies in that area, they got to that windmill town, Viridius of the Heavens dropped off that windmill and ambushed you, and you probably died. You probably lost that fight. I did too. I did not go into that fight prepared for, like, a serious boss battle. So that was... It's so memorable for me, the way he just ambushes you, and was a seriously hard fight that you were not prepared for. You did not know about that if you weren't reading a guide or something. So that was interesting. I love that. Now, honestly speaking, after that little ambush, he didn't have the biggest presence in season 1. Again, he was more of like a side character, kind of like Flame and Earth. Yeah, the main characters I feel in season 1, as far as the Viridius go, was Light and Dark, obviously. Water, as we're going to get there in a second, but I thought water was pretty important in Season 1. And then fire, earth, and wind were kind of like, they'd pop in every now and then, but they weren't like a major component. Veritas of the Water, I love her. I've said it before, when I said who am I voting for my favorite character in Brave Exvius, it's Veritas of the Water. I thought her storyline in Season 1 was really, really cool. And we'll talk more about her secondary storyline when we get to Folka, because they ruined it. But in Season 1, she was the, insane tyrant of Alderian. She was laying siege to the Alderian city. She was really powerful. She killed El, or wounded El. I don't know if El actually died or not, but she kicked his ass, basically. Yeah, she was really cool, and the whole thing was when she's wearing her armor, it makes her insane, and I thought that was really interesting and awesome, and I loved it. I loved the idea of a water tyrant. I just thought that was so cool, and I'm going to rank her as awesome. I thought Veritas of the Water was awesome in Season 1. Ayaka, honestly speaking, is filler. She's in literally one scene. When you first get to, I forget the name of the city, the Oriental city with the pagodas and all, where Sakura is from. Ayaka is Sakura's apprentice. And when you walk in the city, Ayaka greets you and I have some candy for you. Thank you, master. And you never see her again. So she's there for one scene. The end. And I don't know why she's a fan favorite, because she has 5 seconds of screen time. But she's a fan favorite. I don't get it. I don't get it. She's literally a filler character. She has 5 seconds of screen time. But there she is. Lauren. Lauren's a pretty main character. She's the general of the Grand Sheld armies. And she pops in quite a bit. Just like Charlotte. But again, just like Charlotte, I don't remember specifically what Lauren even did. I do know she's in a lot of cutscenes, and she's a major character. But if you asked me what did she actually do in the story, I couldn't tell you. I don't remember. It didn't make an impact for me. So she's got to go into just there. She was there. She was in the story. She's in the story a bunch of times. What did she do? I don't know. Just there. Duke. So now we're getting into mostly Season 2 characters. And again, there are more characters from Season 1. Some of these are different release orders that we're going to get to that we haven't gotten to yet. But for the most part, that covers the Season 1 characters. Some other honorable mentions would be Evan, which is Lid's brother. I would put him in filler tier if he had a sprite, because Evan was very, very minor in the story. Dr. Lazarov, if we had a sprite, I'd put him in the interesting tier. He was the evil scientist that corrupted Soze and really ruined Zoldad, made all the zombies in Zoldad, etc. If he had a sprite, he would be an interesting tier. If Behemoth had a sprite, he'd be an interesting... he'd be, honestly speaking, he'd be in just there. Behemoth was pretty cool, but he didn't really do very much, honestly. Saul does have a sprite. Saul got released later, so where's his sprite? We're going to go ahead and skip to Saul because he's a Season 1 character. Saul, awesome. Saul was awesome. Not only in Season 1, also in Season 2. I really like Saul because, again, do you remember how I said it made a lasting impact when Veritas of the Wind ambushed you and he beat you because you weren't prepared? Well, Saul, the original form, this is way back in the day. Way back in the day, he was probably one of the hardest fights in the game. His storyline fight. And you could go in there prepared. Even if you were prepared, he was hard to kill. He was so hard that the developers nerfed his fight. It used to be really, really hard in the time period, of course. And then he was so hard, the developers nerfed the hell out of him because he roadblocked a lot of players in the story. They just could not get past him in the story. So the devs nerfed him. Now he's super easy, barely an inconvenience. But yeah, he was really, really hard. Also, as far as a character, he was pretty cool. Honestly, I'm going to say the season 1 Saul, not quite as cool as Dark Veritas, mostly because he doesn't even show up until literally the last, 10 minutes of season 1. He shows up and all of a sudden, hey, I'm the new main bad guy, not Veritas of the Dark anymore. So, I would knock him down for that, but he is a character in season 2, a lot of season 2, and I thought he was really cool in season 2. In season 2, he was, I don't know. I don't want to be mean to a character I really do like, but if I'm going to be completely honest, he did seem like, I don't know, impotent in season 2, to be blunt about it. It's because in season 1, he was portrayed as this, god tier, strongest unit ever, strongest bad guy ever. And then in season 2, he's just following along with Rain and having soup. I don't know. I really like Saul, and it kills me to really say in season 2 he just felt weak, but he really did. He just felt weak in season 2 because they just season 1 he's literally the boss of season 1, the final, Chaotic Darkness was that he summoned, but still. And yeah, and then season 2, all of a sudden, he's just like a lost puppy. I don't know. I still like him. He's still awesome regardless. Anyway, Duke. So Duke is, I guess, just there, or honestly more like filler. He's the I'm not sure his official title. He's either the mayor or the captain of the guard or the protector of one of the cities in season 2. I forget the city's name. Dragon's Den or something. I don't know. But yeah, he's the leader of a season 2 city, and he's against the Empire, and that's kind of it. He's got a few scenes, not super interesting. He's just your generic rebel city leader. He's kind of just there, or more like filler. Mystia, honestly, same thing. She's the same city as Duke. She's part of the guard in Duke City, and she's filler. She's got one scene where she makes a shield around the city. The end. Kunshira actually is a pretty big deal in season 2. Kunshira is, oh my god, I forget the exact role or title. She's the something from, I think it's called Gungir. I don't know, the Beastman city in season 2. She's not the princess or the queen or anything. No, there's definitely a king character, and it's not her. What is her role? Is she just a soldier? I don't remember, but she's kind of a big deal for the Beastman army. She's a character. Honestly, I'm gonna say she was just there. I know she had a lot of scenes, and she was a pretty major character in a lot of season 2. But the fact that I just can't remember specifically what she did, it's the same problem as Lauren and Charlotte. She's just there. She was there. She was there for a lot of scenes, but not enough to be memorable, because I don't recall what she did specifically. Watto is just filler. And honestly speaking, Watto might have been a story event character, not a main story character. I don't even remember, but I literally don't remember what he did. Honestly speaking, we're going to go just who. Who? Watto, I might have put him in this list accidentally. Yeah, he might have just been a season or a story event character like Bran, Lunera, and not part of the main story. And if he was, I completely forgot what he did. So, yeah. Erwin, honestly, boring, because he's not annoying. Him, and we're going to put them all here. So, the whole crew of Madame Adele. So, Erwin, Lexa, Manald, Pekiota, Shinju. Where's the other one? The guy with the sword. He got released later. Here he is. Eldibus. I think this is all of them. No, where's Vesvia? Vesvia as well. Amber as well. Yeah, all 8 of them. All 8 of them, they're just boring. Like, not even filler. Because there's so many of them, and they're literally, all 8 of them are just there. And I realize a category is named just there. But they're not even just there. Like, Vesvia exists in one single dungeon to give you a fetch quest. Amber is like in one single scene to send you to the mansion. Eldibus is like the butler of the mansion. Shinju and Pekiota are like the spies of the mansion. I think Manald actually had the most presence. I think she had like multiple quests, but still, the whole crew of Madame Adele, I mean, just boring. They didn't do anything. They have barely a presence. They're just like there for a scene. Same thing as Ayaka, but at the very least, Ayaka had like a backstory. These guys have nothing. They're just like beyond filler. So yeah, they're all boring. They're not annoying, they're just boring. Reigen. So here we go where we get the alternate identities of all the Viridius. So Reigen is technically Dark Viridius. And again, I do realize the Season 1 Dark Viridius was actually a vision, not the real Dark Viridius. But still, Reigen, we're going to rank him as his own character. I'm going to say he's interesting. And this is, I don't want to rank him as awesome, even though I do feel like he does the good guy archetype better than Rain does. Rain has that, like I said, the lawful good trope where no matter what, I won't do a single thing that could possibly even be considered mean. Rain is like, I am so pure and good and noble. Reigen is also like, I'm really good, always do the right thing. But Reigen is a more realistic version of that. He is like, we need to always do the right thing, but if we have to do this thing that might maybe do something negative in the process, it's got to be done. So I feel like Reigen is like, again, going back to the whole D&D archetype, he's more of like a neutral good character, whereas Rain is the lawful good. And I think Reigen is a better personality than Rain. But the reason I'm ranking him lower is mostly just because of presence. Rain is there all the time, literally the main character of the game. Reigen is definitely going to be really high and interesting, but he's not going to be awesome just because it's hard. It's hard. I like Reigen quite a bit, but I can't put him in the top tier because he's not awesome to me. He's a little bit one note, even though it's a better one note than Rain. So there you go. And now Hayo of the Delta Star. So for those of you that follow my channel, you know me. You know one of my big characters that I like is Sephiroth. I'm definitely, the edgelord that likes those kind of characters. So, of course, Hayo is going to go into the awesome tier. I think Hayo is awesome. And, of course, Hayo is, again, an alternate form of Rain. And I did say we're mostly not doing alternate forms of units. But the whole Rain and Hayo are really very, very different personalities, even though they're just the same character. So this is like, it really is almost a split personality, because while Rain is, I'm never going to do anything bad, Hayo is like, still does the good thing for the most part, but he does do bad things. Now, I'm trying to remember specifically Season 2. So Season 2, did Hayo ever actually do something evil? I do know he sliced Fina open and then sealed the wound with crystals or whatever the hell. So that's like the most aggressive thing he did on screen. But it was really heavily implied that he was like a tyrant off screen, and that's how he got promoted to Delta Star, like really high in the orders, by being such a vicious tyrant. He never did it on screen, though, even though he definitely fought the party a bunch of times. But as far as being like this vicious tyrant that gets the 3rd position in the entire army of the Orders, or the 4th position, it was Delta's 4th, right? Yeah, it was Emperor, Lev-Nato, Zeno, and Rain. Yeah, so fourth place. He was ranked 4th in the Orders. So yeah, so even though he was ranked 4th in the Orders, like, you don't get that high by being a pacifist. So he had to have done, I mean, for the Emperor, the boy had to do murder. He had to. Otherwise, you wouldn't get promoted that high. So he was definitely evil. So I don't know how they really... It was all off-screen, I guess. If it's off-screen, you get a pass. On-screen, he never did anything bad. But anyway, I thought Hayo was really cool. His sprite is amazing. I love his sprite. His in-battle sprite especially is really, really good. The whole thing with Hayo meaning leopard in JP and Japanese, and his helmet being a literal leopard helmet. His design is cool. His character is cool. I like the idea of him being like the good guy doing bad things for the greater good. I like that a lot. I don't know. I don't know how they explain it being literally rain. Well, I don't know. I don't know. You gotta just forgive it. Domino is, again, just filler, or I guess just filler. Yeah, she had like 1 or 2 scenes. I believe she. Oh God, I forget exactly. She was like the guard of that elevator, and she lets you in, right? I'm forgetting season 2. You know, she might have even been a story event character and not a main character. So because of that, we're going to stick her in Who. Like, who? Yeah, I don't remember if she was... I'm thinking about it, I think she really was a story event character only. She was not in the main story. Yes, it was a story character. It was her and that other guy. They were both running away. The guy got shot in the back or something. I'm remembering this vaguely, but I'm pretty sure she wasn't in the main story, so I incorrectly added her to the sprite list. Whoops. Oh well. Too bad. Okay, Citra. Citra is the alternative of Light Veritas. Citra is going to go into filler, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, filler is not the right category name. I should really rename that category. So filler, or yeah, we're gonna rename this category filler or underwhelming. There we go. So she was doesn't even fit. Doesn't even fit. Oh my god, what did I do? Oh, I moved it. Whoops. Yeah, let's hold on. Or dull. There we go. Filler or dull. Okay. So yeah. So she's just dull. In season 2, she has this whole... You know what? Okay, so forgive me. Not dull. Weird. There we go. Weird. Filler or weird. Yeah, so in season 2, she has this, like, goofy thing where her and Folka are trying to go on a date with Nicole. And I don't know. It makes you take her a lot less seriously. Like, this was the person that murdered Rain's mother. Let that sink in for a minute. She murdered Rain's mother. And she was like the mastermind of the entire season 1's Veritas stuff. Like, she's a pretty badass villain. And then in season 2, she spends the entire time trying to get in Nicole's pants. Like, what? Why did they just ruin the Veritas in season 2? Most of them just turn into idiots in season 2. So I'm tempted to put her in freaking annoying, because honestly, we are going to put her in annoying. Because it is annoying. It's annoying. It's the same problem as Lyd and Jake. Lyd and Jake turned from... Well, Jake at least turned from a really awesome character into an annoying meme. And Citra did too. She really did. She went from awesome mastermind bad guy to I want to date Nicole more than Folka does. Like, what? Come on. Yeah, we're putting her in boring or annoying. C-Card absolutely goes into annoying, because he is Veritas of the Earth up here. And again, awesome in season 1. In season 2, they literally turned him into a stereotype and a meme. Like, he really gets on my nerves. He really gets on my nerves. The way they just reinforce negative stereotypes, I hate it. And he's annoying. He's annoying. Again, we're trying to have this season 2, this really serious story of Vlad is waking up weapon, we're going to destroy the world. And Veritas is like, but does my hair look okay? Like, come on, dude. Come on. It's not. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's overplayed. That's literally his whole character. His entire character is, do I look good? It's stupid. It's stupid. It's annoying. It gets on my nerves so bad. Folka, as much as I like Folka, it's only because of the season 1 Folka, and I liked her as a unit. I enjoyed her as a battle unit. She was a good healer for her time period. But as far as her season 2 form, it's as bad as Citra. The two of them together, the two freaking hens chasing after Nicole, is just the worst. It's the worst. It's so... The whole Veritas army in season 2 is a bunch of Looney Tunes, except for Reagan. Reagan's the only one that takes his job seriously. The rest... Okay, Sid, too. We haven't gotten him yet. But yeah, it drives me insane, because I really liked her in season 1. In season 2, all she can do is talk about, I want to go on a date with Nicole. It's so dumb. So, Ignacio, honestly speaking, he wasn't nearly as bad as the rest of them. He also got turned into kind of like a goofball in season 2, where he's like this big teddy bear type dude, where he goes from, this vicious axe dude to that's a great example, a big teddy bear in season 2. But at the very least, he's not irritating. C-Card is irritating. Citra and Folka are irritating because their goofiness is so out of place. Ignacio is more of like just a silly dummy, I guess. But at the very least, it's not irritating. He's just supposed to be this, big warlord, and he's just, I guess, low IQ. Maybe they're trying to play out the whole barbarian archetype, where he's not very smart. He's just like a big, I'm a smash, and maybe that's fine. That's fine, but it's, I don't know. He was not my favorite character. Sid was honestly, I kind of like Sid in season 2. I thought Sid was fine. He was taken seriously. He wasn't just a goofball. He wasn't irritating. The whole storyline with Yigo, I didn't love that. I'll talk more about that when we get to Yigo. But on the whole, I think Sid was fine. Sid was fine in season 2. It was interesting. Sid took things seriously. Really. He was a serious character in a serious storyline. The season 2 storyline was pretty serious. Vlad was going to wipe out the world. That's a big deal. And Sid took it seriously. He wasn't playing Let's Look in the Mirror all day like C-Card was. You know what I mean? So yeah, I like Sid. Sid's interesting. Eurisha. So she's hard to rank. She was obviously a big deal. She's the grandmother of Hess or whatever. Lasswell's grandmother or mother. No, mother or grandmother. In any case, she's related to Lasswell. It's got to be grandmother. I think it is. But how do we? I guess we can just write just there. She was a serious character. She was the leader of the rebellion against Vlad, I think. And yeah, she was just there. I can't say she was very interesting. She was just there. There it is. Perfect ranking. Ishil and Frannis are honestly... No, we're going to put them in who? Because literally, I bet you most people have no idea who they are. So these two are operatives in season 2. They're I don't know their specific titles, but they were spies for the Hess Empire. And it really is just filler. But just because I'll bet you 99% of people, even if you played season 2, you're going to look at these characters and you're going to be like, who? Yeah, they do not leave an impact, and they had like one scene, and you never see them again, and you forgot them instantly. So yeah, who? Murphys is going to definitely go into interesting. So, oh god, was Murphys in the real story? She is absolutely connected to the real story because she's the entire reason Hayo exists. So again, I warned you about spoilers. So when Rain gets sent to Palladia at the end of Season 1, he wandered around, lost for a while. That's when he turned into the Wandering Vagrant Rain unit. He got to a city, he met Murphys, she gave him bread, they became good friends, and then the Empire's army attacked the city and killed Murphys by act. Like, she wasn't intentionally killed, but because the army is just attacking the city in general, she got killed in the crossfire or whatever. And that made Rain, turn into Hayo or get like so mad that he decided to become Hayo. So she had a major, and I thought that storyline was pretty cool. I do think, now that I'm thinking about it, I do think it was part of a side story event and not the main Season 2 story. But I could be mistaken. Even if it was a standalone story event and not part of the main story, we're still going to leave her a ranking because I thought it was pretty interesting. Like, she is the whole reason that Hayo exists, and Hayo is really cool, and I really like that story. Like, she was just it's obviously intended to be kind of like a reference to Aerith from Final Fantasy VII. Aerith is selling a flower, Murphys is selling a loaf of bread, peasant girl on the street. And Rain, the main story character, meets her and becomes friends. Same as Aerith and Cloud. But that's fine, whatever. Callbacks to Final Fantasy is not really a problem. And I actually appreciate that. But yeah, interesting. It was an interesting story. I liked it. Xeno of the Beta Star. So, Xeno and Axstar are technically the same thing, but we're going to, because, again, I warned you about spoilers. Because Axstar is technically alternate Rain and Xeno is actually Xeno, we're going to rank him as just there. Because honestly speaking, even though I do know he's a kind of an important story character, like, if you ask me what did he do, you fight him during that one arena battle in the story, and other than that, he was in a cutscene or two. He was just there, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so, if you know the whole backstory, you do know that he is a little bit more of an important character, but as far as in the actual game of gameplay, I don't feel he had that big of a presence. So for me, he was just there. More than filler, because he is kind of important, but he was just there. Axstar is interesting. So I'm a little mixed here. On the one hand, again, I'm kind of being hypocritical here. I'm saying I'm going to forgive tropes, and now I'm going to say I don't like his trope. So Axstar's trope is like, the harsh master, like from Kill Bill, what's his name, Padme or whatever. I'm going to be the harsh samurai master that is super abusive and mean to my student to make them better. I don't like that trope. I think it's silly. I think if you want to teach someone, then teach someone. Don't abuse them for weeks and weeks and weeks to see if they're going to give up and then teach them. Like, come on. I don't like the trope. I do know it's a very, very common trope in, like, samurai movies and, Oriental movies, etc. I never liked it. And that's totally Axstar in a nutshell. He abuses Lastwell nonstop so that Lastwell can become a stronger swordsman. Like, just teach Lastwell the stupid mirror of equity. Don't abuse him like a bully for 47 scenes, make him literally cry in one scene, and then finally teach him the mirror of equity. I don't know. It seemed all drawn out to me. Now, even with all that negative speak, it was still interesting. I didn't think it was very cool, but it was interesting. It was still interesting. I still enjoyed reading it. I was looking forward to the next chapter. I wanted to see more. So yeah, even though I don't like that storyline, it was an interesting storyline. So he goes up here. Nagi. Honestly speaking, I really love Nagi. Nagi is just like Citra in that she's like the crazy ex-girlfriend. She is after either Hayo or Rain. I think it was Hayo, because it reminds her of her dead brother, and she's like hooked on Hayo as like a fangirl. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was... It is kind of goofy if you really take a step back and think about it. But I thought it was goofy in a believable way that wasn't silly. Like this kind of goofiness down here, Citra and Folka, it was goofy in a silly way. Like it was just silly. This was a fanatical ex-girlfriend, basically, or whatever, fanatic. And I thought it was pretty interesting. I like Nagi quite a bit, so I'm going to put her in interesting. I found her very interesting. Yigo. Yigo is one of those stories that really is like a bait and switch. So, in Season 2, I forget what Yigo was, the Epsilon star by memory. I don't remember. In any case, I think it was... I'm going to call her Epsilon. I might be mistaken here. But Yigo was really built up in the story before you ever met Yigo. She was constantly built up as like the strongest of the stars. The strongest of the stars. She's so overpowered. No one in the army is as good as her. And then you finally meet her, and you beat her in a fight, and then she joins the team, and then she's like this... brain damaged, basically. Like, she's so immature. It's like she's a 3-year-old. She's like, will you be my daddy? Will you be my sister? What am I going to do now? Daddy? I need a daddy. Oh, you want to be my sister? Like, oh my God, what is going on here? It's like she was built up as this awesome, amazing, fierce fighter, and she's like brain damaged. She's so dumb. This whole thing with will you be my daddy, it drove me up a wall. I hated that so much. Like, will you be my... How many times did she kept calling Sid dad? Oh my God, annoying. Super annoying. Yigo got on my nerves with the whole daddy thing with Sid and Mid, will you please be my sister? Oh my God. What? No. I couldn't take it. It was horrible. Oh God, what are these people's names? Oh geez, Zulu and Dilu or something. Zulu and Dilu, yeah. So they're basically filler. Yeah, they're just filler. They're basically comic relief, and this was I felt like it was comic relief. I don't know if I'm gonna put them just there because it was comic relief that was sort of funny, and it was. Okay, so it's basically they're playing the archetype or the trope of like the bumbling idiot bad guy. Like they always screw up the mission. It's a trope, etc. But I thought it was kind of funny, and also I have to admit, this made me love them forever. When Physalis does a summon for a unit in game, like in battle, in game, she breaks a crystal. And Zolo and Delulu pop out. I died. That was one of the best jokes in the entire of all 4 seasons. That was literally the #1 best joke the developers have ever had. Was when Physalis breaks a crystal, Zolo and Delulu pop out, and Physalis is like, oh, damn it, I got a bad summon. It was, oh my God, that was the best joke. I rolled laughing. It was so good. So that's why they have to be, even though they're literally just bumbling idiots, they have to be up and they have to be at it. Almost, I got to put him here, just there, because it was so funny. It really was. Okay, Gallus. Gallus was, oh God, who? I do know who he is. He's one of the stars. One of the stars. Is he even one of the stars? I think he was just the warden of the prison, wasn't he? The prison where Rain was not Rain when the prisoners were captured. I don't know. We're gonna put him in who because I guarantee you most people are gonna be like who? Yeah, they're not gonna remember who he is. I forgot who he was. He did have like a little arc a little bit, and he was a character for like a few scenes. It's just like It was minor. I forgot. So, forgettable. Who? Physalis. Physalis is... Okay, so Physalis has had a few different character arcs. If you remember the beginning Physalis, she was one of the stars. I forgot her actual star ranking or whatever. But yeah, she was one of them. She was supposed to be, like, again, one of the strongest. Actually, I think she was only self-proclaimed one of the strongest. I think the only one that called her the strongest was herself. So she would call herself the strongest star, but she wasn't really. It was kind of like a self-inflated ego. And yeah, she was definitely a little goofy as a star, but I found her interesting because she was goofy. It's really walking a thin line about the comic relief being too goofy or just the right amount of humor. And her little Moog, the way she'd swing Moog against the wall, that definitely was bordering on too silly and just out of place, but it wasn't over the line, I feel like. But it was, again, when you're trying to do a serious storyline and then you're seeing like a character sling their sidekick into a wall, it gets a little like, this is out of place. We're not watching a cartoon here, or are we? But still, I liked Physalis. I don't know, I did. I thought she was fine. She was interesting, and the whole thing where she's going to be absorbed into Weapon because I forget the reasoning, because I guess she had both the bloodlines or something. I don't know. It was pretty interesting. I enjoyed it. It was fun. So fine, she's interesting. Jurega. Jurega is one of the stars. Again, I forget what star. The Gamma Star, I think. He was he always a good guy? I do know for quite a few scenes, like, he was technically a bad guy, but he seemed to, like, always be on our side, right? Am I forgetting this wrong? Or was he like a legit bad guy until he eventually changed sides? Most of the stars did eventually become good guys. Like Nagi, for example, was a star, became a good guy. Yiga was a star, became a good guy. Jurega was a star, became a good guy. Not all of them, though. Like, for example, this guy did not turn good. But yeah, I think he always like a double agent the whole time? I don't remember, but I'm going to say he was just there. He definitely had a few scenes, and he was kind of cool, and I did find his character a little interesting, but not enough to put him in the actual interesting tier. So I liked him, but not enough to put him up here. So he's about just there. This guy, Gudon of the low star, I forget which one. This filler. He's filler. I do remember him. I think he was the actual prison leader of the warden of the prison. So who was Gallus? If he was the prison warden, who the hell was this guy? Well, he's ranked perfectly in the who tier. I have no idea. Anyway, Gudon was the warden guy. He was beating up people. He was floating around in his little Dr. Robotnik chair or whatever. Whatever. He was just a filler. Like, he was the main bad guy of a very small arc. It was filler character. Madame Adele. So Madame Adele, I'm going to say, is pretty interesting, honestly. She was pretty cool. She had the whole mansion, and while all of these idiots down here, all of her little flunkies, have really no real story, she had a lot of story. She had, for one thing, the entire Madame's mansion, and the whole time you're getting lots and lots of her backstory, including her level 5, which is like an hour of unskippable backstory with her and her husband Almaz, and it was really cool. I liked it. Honestly, I'm tempted to put her in awesome, but we are. Just because her story is so fleshed out and so decent, and she has an entire section of the game dedicated to her and her story, I think that's awesome. I would love them to do more Madame's Mansion style content where you go around the entire world collecting keys, doing all the quests, and I'm probably getting hate mail right now because, like, oh, that's so tedious. I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. The way all the keys to her mansion were spread literally across the entirety of Season 2. I thought it was awesome. It was rewarding. It gave you a lot of cool gear, and I know we're not really using meta in this ranking, but still, she was awesome. Her whole Madam's Mansion was awesome. I'd love to see more of that in the game, so developers, please do more. And that's basically all of Season 2. Actually, no, we've got a few spread out. So, Rowan. Rowan was Eurycia's son, Lastwell's, not his father. Is it Lastwell's father? It's got to be, huh? I guess it is Lastwell's father. You know what? I don't think he was actually in the story. I think he only had a story event, which we're not ranking. Yeah, I shouldn't put him in this list. Whoops. Or if he was in the Season 2 story, the actual main permanent story, then I forgot what he did. So we're going to put him in either Who or unranked because, whoops. Hold on one second. Who else was from Season 1 or 2? I think the rest are Season 3 and 4. So, Mid. Mid, how are we going to rank her? Let's put her in filler because she did have no, she had quite a few scenes. She was in a few boss battles. She had the whole thing with Yigo, with, I'm going to be your sister. And while that did irritate me, she wasn't the one directing that whole dumbness. It was Yigo. So I'm going to put her in just there because she didn't have like a main character role in the story. She was just there. So yeah. Anyone else from Season 1 or 2? That's Season 3. Season 1 or 2. Vreeze of the Frost. Oh yeah, Vreeze of the Frost was in Season 1. We're going to put him in filler, because he literally had just one scene. Like, one flashback scene. Actually, it wasn't even really Vreeze of the Frost. It was actually Raygan wearing his armor, which we're not supposed to be doing that in different forms. Honestly, we're going to put him in Who, because it wasn't even the real Vreeze of the Frost. It was Raygan wearing his armor. So he's actually not even in the real story. He shouldn't be in this list. Whoops. Okay, so the rest of these are Season 3 and 4. So there we go. There's all the Season 1 and Season 2. Now we go into Season 3, which, as people know, has a reputation for being a train wreck. But, there were some good parts in Season 3. So, we're going to go over them. Renora. Renora is the conductor of the Doom Train. He's a pretty main character. He's the son of Diverty. Is he actually Diverty's literal son or adopted son? I don't remember. Someone can correct me in the comments, or I can look it up on the wiki later. But I think he was the adopted son of Diverty, not the literal son, not the blood son, right? Because didn't Renora kill his own parents, and then Diverty adopted him and wiped his memory? Again, I forget the Season 3 story. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Renora killed his own parents by accident, by the way. He was like possessed by the will of the Oblivion or whatever the hell. But yeah, he killed his own parents because he was possessed. Then he forgot about that, and Diverty adopted him. I'm pretty sure. Not Diverty, Bruce. I'm sorry, Bruce. Not Diverty. Bruce adopted him. I'm getting them all mixed up. Anyway, I found him pretty interesting. So we're going to go ahead and put him in interesting tier because, yeah, he's the conductor. He plays a very major role in Season 3. I think he's there all the way to the end of Season 3, from beginning all the way to end. But yeah, he's pretty interesting. And I thought the whole thing, I mean, it's going to sound kind of creepy, but the whole thing of him killing his parents because he was possessed and then finding out about it, I thought that was really interesting. I thought it was interesting. Sad and tragic, but interesting. Bruce. Bruce, again, was pretty interesting because, again, he was the one that... How did it go again? The Season 3 story, it did have its moments. It did have a few good moments. This whole Renora Bruce thing was one of the best parts of Season 3, by the way. Yeah, so Bruce adopted him, and then Diverty Diverty thought Bruce was the one that... Yes. So Diverty thought Bruce killed Renora's parents. That's why Diverty hated Bruce. And Bruce allowed him to think that so that Renora would not live with the guilt of killing his own parents, even though he was possessed by the will of the Oblivion when it happened. Or it was the will of the Oblivion, right? Or it was the fog bad stuff that took over the Season 3 world. In any case, yeah. I found that really interesting. I thought that was awesome. That was an awesome storyline. And that was by far the shining high point of Season 3, is the whole Renora, Bruce, Diverty storyline. That was really cool and interesting. And then it goes downhill. Then we have Mazurka, who absolutely goes into annoying tier. So Mazurka takes that whole, I'm going to say this wrong, the Sundeer trope to the annoying extreme. Oh my God, is that annoying. The whole thing of, I'm going to be your arch enemy, Fina, and I'm going to challenge you every time I see you, Fina, but hey, can we still be best friends? But no, I'm going to fight you to the death. But I really want to be your friend, but I'm going to hate you, and I'm going to burn all your children. But can we still be friends after? Like, oh my God. Oh my God. My eyes cannot roll back further in my head. Mazurka, why? You're so irritating. I hated Season 3. Yeah, so once we get past the whole cool thing with Renora, Bruce, and Diverty, all the rest of it is just your eyes cannot roll far enough. Okay, well, I just said all that, and here's Milo. Milo was honestly, I kind of liked Milo. This is kind of weird. Okay, so Milo was, I mean, his story was a little... Okay, I'm sounding really hypocritical here as I just say how bad it was, then I say it's actually good again. I thought Milo's story was kind of interesting, where, if I'm remembering it correctly, he was from the village where black magic, like, went rampant, and the mages killed people by accident, therefore black magic was outlawed, and he got outcast. Am I remembering this correctly? It's something like that, where black mages caused bad stuff to happen in his village, and because of that, he got exiled. I could be completely misremembering here, but that's how I remember it. I thought that was pretty interesting. Also, Milo's character is, again, kind of a trope, kind of a cliche, but I found it kind of amusing, like the whole "I'm too lazy to do" thing. I don't know. I found it kind of funny. I found it funny in a way that wasn't over the line, although sometimes it definitely towed the line, because sometimes it was out of place when, like, there were certainly some serious moments, especially once they changed sides and became good guys, and you're like all working together to save the world from the will of Oblivion, and Milo's like, I don't feel like it. That was a little out of place. Like, if you're really going to be that way, just like stay home. Why are you even here? So maybe they pushed that little joke a little too far sometimes. But for the most part, him just being like, we have to chase again. We have to chase Fina. He's like, I don't want to chase anyone. I thought that was kind of funny. I liked it. So Milo's fine. Conch. Conch, by memory, was like, God, wasn't she the bully at Cleome's school? And then she turned out to be friends at the end? So filler, I guess? Yeah, by memory, oh God, I think I think her and Cleome were like rivals, and I could be misremembering, but weren't her and Cleome like rivals, and they were against each other, trying to be the best musician in the music city? And then later at the end, they became best friends before she left. I don't know. It was filler. Like, I barely remember it. So, yeah. Poppy. Okay, so this is hard to rank. On the one hand, here we go again, where they're taking comic relief a little too far. And Poppy absolutely crosses into the silly category, where you've taken comic relief too far. So, but I didn't hate her. Not entirely. So how do I rank her? Oh, God. How do I rank Poppy? Like, I don't know. Oh, this is a hard one. This is a hard one. Because on the one hand, she was definitely too silly. Definitely too silly. Like, for what you're attempting to be a serious storyline, and she's just wants to go do graffiti in the slums. That's like, come on now. Come on now. We got better things to do. But I can't remember why, but I kind of liked her a little bit. So we're going to just put her in filler or weird. Definitely weird. This is the perfect name for Poppy is weird. Like, I didn't hate her. I really didn't hate her, but I didn't like her. So she's just weird. She's weird. She's hard to rate. Right there. Okay, Diverty. Diverty was pretty cool. I like Diverty, honestly. So again, because he had the whole Renora, Diverty, Bruce trio of their little storyline, their storyline was by far the highlight of Season 3. So I'm going to put him up in interesting because it was very, very cool. Didn't Diverty kill Bruce? Who killed Bruce? So Bruce died in Season 3. I forgot why. Was it because Diverty killed him? No, it couldn't have been, because then he'd feel all guilty about it after he found out that it wasn't his fault. Who killed Bruce? I don't remember who killed Bruce. Look, in the comments, someone remind me, why did Bruce die? Or more specifically, was it Diverty that killed Bruce? I can't remember why Bruce died. Or did Renora kill Bruce? Was he possessed again? I don't know. In any case, this is not really a history lesson. I forgot. Kalmia. Kalmia is definitely going to go into, like, boring. Boring. Not annoying. She wasn't annoying, but Kalmia was boring. She was, like, the grandmother of the group, as a way to describe it. Like, she was kind of just there. She didn't contribute a whole lot. Her whole city or story arc was, like, boring. Boring. That's all. Not annoying, but just boring. Didn't like it. Coralie. Coralie, how do we rank him? I didn't hate him, but I didn't like him either. He was like the leader of the bad guys before they all flip-flopped. He had the crush on, was it Noreen? No, not Noreen. Who did he have a crush on? Was it the princess? Yeah, it was Swan. Yeah, it was Coralie, Noreen, and Swan. By memory, Coralie was in love with Swan, but Swan was the princess, and Coralie was like not good enough for her. I'm possibly royally screwing this up. I don't know. Corey's just filler. Like I didn't hate him. I didn't hate him, but I didn't love him. He wasn't annoying. He was just like there. I don't know. I mean, I guess Coralie would more like just there. Or was he? I mean, I guess he was just there. Because he did have an okay-ish storyline. A little bit. But not the greatest. I don't know. He was just there. He was just there. Noreen. Noreen is definitely under boring. Boring. Not bad, not annoying, just boring. Like, she was just there. Didn't really do anything, had minimal dialogue. She's just, along for the ride. I mean she did have the whole thing like I'm the princess's decoy, and that was like vaguely interesting, but not really. It bored me. I was bored. Daisy. Daisy absolutely goes into annoying. Absolutely goes in annoying. Okay, so literally the lowest point, lowest of the lowest of the low point of season 2, the worst scene in the entire, not season 3, the worst scene in season 3. I'm going to explain it to you. So, we've got the Hollow Keeper, I think it was Milo and maybe Milo and Mazurka. They had kidnapped baby Roka. So we've got an Amber Alert. We've got a baby that has been kidnapped. And the kidnappers are running away through the woods with the baby. The heroes are chasing after the kidnappers. During the chase, literally, during the chase against the kidnappers of an infant, the Power Rangers stop and do an improv acting scenario. In the middle of a chase from kidnappers of an infant, they stop in the middle of the forest and they talk about them being sad, and Daisy is like, when I feel sad, I like to do improv acting. And Daisy and Fina, and I forget who else was there, I think Calmio was there, all of them stop pursuing the kidnappers of the baby, and they start doing the cringiest improv session of acting in the middle of the forest. Like, it was just the worst, lowest part of Season 3. It was the ultimate cringe. It was so out of place, it made absolutely no sense. You're pursuing kidnappers. Fina feels sad during the chase. They stop to do an improv acting session. Oh my God. And Daisy was the one who suggested it. You are going to be in the most annoying tier for the rest of your existence because of that. It was the lowest point of Season 3. Emperor Vlad. So I looked over him accidentally when we were doing Season 2. We're going to rewind to Season 2. Emperor Vlad, this is going to sound strange, was interesting. He really was. Before he became so massively overplayed with reruns and overdone and overdone and overdone. He was actually pretty cool in Season 2 as a villain. Of course, eventually, he got just reran into a joke status. Even 8th anniversary, they're still bringing Vlad back. These days, he'd be more like annoying. But in Season 2, while he was still a relatively fresh and new villain, he was pretty cool. I liked him. I thought he was a good villain until he turned into a joke, just like Jake. So, used to be a really cool villain. Anyway, back to Season 3. Cleome. How do we rank Cleome? Cleome was not annoying. She didn't annoy me. I didn't love her, but she didn't annoy me. Honestly, just there, I guess. You know, she didn't annoy me. I'd say she was better than Filler. She wasn't really weird or anything. She was just there. Didn't irritate me. Didn't impress me either. So there you go. Roka. So Roka, we're going to rank Roka in her adult form. I do know in Season 3, Roka was the floating baby, the infinite source of memes and jokes and cringe. We're not going to hold that against her, because even though it was technically Roka, it was a floating baby. It was the stupidest, cringiest thing ever. We're not going to count that. We're also, this is being very generous here. We're also not going to count Teenage Roka or Child Roka, where she was the most obnoxious, bratty little shit you have ever seen on screen. The Teenage Roka was horrible. It is the kind of person that you see in a supermarket yelling at their mother, and you want to walk over there and backhand the kid. And people are going to be like, "You're so abusive, Censar." That's how Roka made me feel as a teenager. Oh my God, was she the brattiest little shit you have ever seen in a video game. I hated her as a teenager. I hated her as the cringy floating baby. She's going to get a pass for that because it wasn't a unit yet. When she became adult Roka, that's how we're going to rank her. So mostly season 3 Roka. Season 3 and not season 3, mostly season 4 Roka. Some season 3 as well, but mostly season 4 Roka. Now, Roka, again, really walks that line of either too silly or just the right amount of comic relief with the whole Boomer thing. So the way she constantly abuses Boomer, I don't love it. I don't love it. Like, I get a little bit of comic relief, kind of like Faislis throwing Moog around, but it feels like the abuse of Boomer is really overdone. Like, Boomer legitimately is trying to help. Like, he's trying to be a cool dude. He's always offering suggestions. He's trying, whatever Boomer can do, he tries to help scenarios. The fact that he's a floating bomb, he really can't do very much, but he tries. And even when he offers a legitimate, helpful solution, Roka's answer is to abuse him. Either tell him to shut up, or freeze him in a block of ice, or say, shut up, Boomer. Like, Roka is really a jerk to Boomer for absolutely no reason. Like, Boomer is trying to be helpful very often, and Roka shuts him down for no reason at all, and I don't like that. So I'm going to have to put her in annoying just because she really abuses Boomer, and I feel like it's out of place. But at the same time, if we look past that, and again, she's already getting a pass for the whole childhood and baby, but if we look past the Boomer abuse, I think Roka's overall a good character. It's just like kind of like Lid and Jake, that overplayed abuse of Boomer that's really uncalled for. It's really uncalled for, because especially when Boomer is trying to be helpful and he gets punished for it. I don't like that at all. I think that's like mean. Just mean-spirited. It's not funny, it's mean. And I don't like it. But I still, overall, still kind of like Roka a little bit. So I'm going to put her in weird. I'm going to put her in weird. Because she's sadistic and mean to her pet. But she's, I don't know. We're going to move on from Roka. So Pause. Pause played a pretty important role in Season 3. She was like the spirit of the light or whatever. The guide of the girls. But she was like just there. Honestly, I didn't find her that big. She's definitely. I'm gonna keep it PG-13. She's definitely got the cleavage. But she was just there. Honestly, she didn't really do a whole lot. Like, she was definitely a main big deal for the finale of Season 3, but just there. I think that's all of Season 3. Yes, so now we're in Season 4. Season 4, so we've got Tyvis. Tyvis is definitely high tier. It's a question of awesome, and honestly, we're going to go to awesome. Tyvis is pretty awesome. He really is cool. I like Tyvis a lot. So Tyvis has a lot going for him. For one thing, he's got a very high screen presence. He's a badass, to put it simply. I'm strong as hell. Also, he's got the tragic backstory, which is kind of interesting. He lost his family to the war. So yeah, Tyvis is really cool. Now, I'm definitely tempted to knock him down for the very weird romantic thing with Leftia. Now, I do realize, before anyone jumps on me, I do realize Tyvis turned down Leftia. He did not do anything technically inappropriate with Leftia. Leftia had a crush on him. She's a child. That's forgivable. That happens often. It's Tyvis's job to restrain himself, and he did. He definitely shut down Leftia. But he did still say, I wish we could be together in a different time or something. I don't know. I forget the exact wording. It definitely bordered on cringy a little bit. Now, even though he did say, you're too young for me, we can't be together, he still, I forget the exact wording, but he said something along the lines of, but I kind of wish we could. You see what I'm saying? But he didn't, But he didn't, so we're going to give him a pass. So he's an awesome tier. Tybus is awesome. Just they really towed the line there of something inappropriate. But he didn't do it. He didn't do it. Tullian. So Tullian, oh my god. Tullian is hard because, for one thing, yet again, we're getting into that realm of too silly. So the whole thing of Tullian non-stop, every other scene, I want to basically commit suicide. Not literally, but like I want to die in every combat. Every combat, I want to die. I want to die. I want to die. Like, dude, if you want to die that bad, get your freaking axe and fall on it. Like, come on. It really got overplayed. The whole I want to die non-stop, over and over. Now, that being said, when Tullian eventually did die towards the end of the story, at that point, he had overall matured a little bit, and I felt like he had become a pretty cool character. And he did die relatively heroically, in a way, kind of. So sure, he's interesting, but he's bordering on dropping because it really did get kind of irritating. The whole I want to die over and over and over. Like, it was too much. And of course, he did have the whole, like, I don't know, over-the-top personality of I'm the hero of the story. That's fine with me. I didn't mind that. I definitely know some people found that to be a little awkward. I didn't mind that so much. But for me, the whole I want to die thing got really overplayed. But he was fine. Runda is going to have to go into kind of awesome tier. So I know Runda is kind of like a play on the Star Wars guy. Not C-3PO, the other one. R2-D2. He was kind of like a play on R2-D2, a little robot sidekick. And that's fine. Honestly, Runda's pretty cool. I liked Runda. He was frequently or always positive, logical, positive. He had good takes. I liked him. He was usually on the side of, always on the side of Tyvis. Even when Tyvis was betraying the Empire, Runda still went along with it. When Tyvis was depressed, because I forgot why there was like a little arc there where Tyvis was really depressed. I forget why exactly. I think it was because Leftia got taken and he allowed it and he got depressed, and Runda cheered him up. Runda's awesome. I like Runda quite a bit. So Runda goes in awesome tier. Leftia is definitely interesting tier. So her whole thing is like I forget the exact storyline. She's like the reincarnation of Snavlinka, and I started skipping a lot of season 4, so I'm not super familiar. She's like the reincarnation of Snavlinka, and therefore she can control Omegas. Is that what it was? I don't know. But basically, the bad Empire wants her to take her and control Omega. That's the gist of it. And overall, she was fine. I liked her as a character. And again, it was a little cringy with the whole I want to get in Tyvis's pants. But it never actually went that far. So whatever, fine, forget it. But still, she was definitely interesting. I liked her. Javi, I'm going to put, this might be strange, I'm going to put Javi in awesome. I really liked Javi. So Javi is definitely the weakling who thinks he's strong, I guess is the way to put it. And Javi was really brave, was willing to do whatever it takes to protect Leftia. He was even challenging Tyvis, which is dude, you have no chance. But still, Javi was awesome. I really liked Javi. And how did Javi die again? I know Javi died. Javi died. He was attacking the Empire. No, he wasn't attacking the Empire. What killed Javi? I forgot why Javi died. I think, didn't he run into a burning building? Was it to save Leftia? Maybe. Did he save Leftia? Is that how it happened? And then he died? I forget exactly, but Javi died. But Javi was awesome. I really liked Javi a lot. The whole personality of where he was so fiercely protectant of Leftia, no matter what. And the fact that he was willing to go against Tyvis before he realized who Tyvis was, I don't know. It made me right away like Javi. And I really liked him. I really liked how loyal he was to Leftia. It was awesome. Yish. So Yish is just there, kind of. Like, I didn't hate her, but she's like, I don't know, what would be a way... Okay, so if we're going to go back to, like, D&D terms, she is, like, lawful neutral, where she just follows the Empire no matter what. Eventually, she does eventually swap and, betray the Empire because they become too evil. But yeah, she's definitely the type where, like, she knows the Empire is doing wrong, but it's my Empire, therefore I'm going to obey them. So yeah. But again, I didn't find her super interesting. Like, she was just there for me. She's definitely borderline up here, but it's just interesting. Cal and Ilmatil, honestly, they're about the same. They're just filler. They really are just filler. Like, they're not bad or anything. They're definitely not bad. But they're just like sidekicks of Yish. And Yish herself is not that interesting. So her sidekicks are definitely not that interesting. They're just there. They're filler. It's filler. They're fine. They're not bad. They're fine. Roose. Oh boy. Oh boy. So do we hold it against Roose that he did the cockfight with Rain for 72 different episodes? Do we hold that against him? I mean, we kind of have to, don't we? Well, I mean, we're not holding it against Rain, because he definitely did it too. No, actually, Rain really didn't. Honestly, it was Roose that was always like, we're going to fight. Rain was just like, do we have to? No, fuck that. Oh my god. I'm sorry, YouTube, don't kill me. No, Roose is... It was all Roose's instigation. Roose kept pushing that stupidity. Yeah, Roose is the one that kept saying it. So... How do we rank him? I mean, it's got to be annoying. I mean, we cannot look past this. We cannot look past that he had 72 episodes of wanting to fight Rain. We can't. I'm sorry, Roose. You put yourself in the annoying tier. Nelica. Nelica is filler or weird. Like, she's definitely annoying. The whole, I'm a genius, yet I'm really an idiot. Like, again, eye roll. But, it didn't annoy me as bad as Roose did, so whatever. She's filler. Like, she's just filler. Or weird. Probably weird's better for her. Van Harma. So Van Harma is a little hard to rank. In the early part of Season 4, I would have ranked Van Harma in awesome. He was definitely awesome early on. The issue is Van Harma basically indulged this whole Roose and Rain fight thing. The minute that Van Harma pulled up a chair and sat down and said, okay, I will patiently wait while Roose and Rain do their duel, that made him lose so much respect for me. That really harmed his character. The fact that Van Harma, this like super badass guy, on a mission, on a dedicated mission, no matter what it takes, even if it destroys cities of innocence, he's going to pause his mission to patiently wait and stand there and watch Rain and Roose have this idiotic duel. And I'm pretty sure he's paused and waited for them like 2 or 3 times. The fact that Van Harma didn't just call Omega and nuke them from the sky saying, you two are idiots, we're going to move along, hurts him for me. So, we're going to put him in just interesting. He would have been awesome, but the fact that he indulged this idiot duel, he loses points. He goes into interesting. Ihana. So honestly, Ihana for me is kind of one note. Like literally just like, I hate everyone. The end. So, just there. Or even just filler. Like, does she even do anything, honestly? Like, I know Van Harma's a big deal, but Ihana's like, just there? Well, but she's in the category. No, she's just filler, honestly. Like, I don't think she herself ever really does anything. She's just, like, following along Van Harma. And I do realize, like, she's, like, the reason for Van Harma. But she doesn't do anything, in my opinion. So, she's filler. Okay, so here we go. I have to do unranked for Ridar and Snavlenka. Because when it came time for their storyline, I had already checked out of Season 4. And I didn't read it. So, unranked. Unranked, because I just did not read Season 4 after a certain point. Yeah, the whole Ruse Duel, after, you know, so many repetitions of that, I just checked out, and the skip button became my new favorite friend. And that was, by the time we got to Ruse, or by the time we got to Snav and Ridar, I had already checked out of Season 4, and it was over. So I have no idea. I did not read their storyline. I have no idea if it was good or bad. Can't tell you, unranked. So here we go. Here is my tier ranking of the playable main story characters of Brave Exvius. There it is. Let me do a real quick, brief look of do we want to make any changes. So Rain, Dark, Water, Saul, Hayo, Adele. Nope, the awesome tier seems fine. Honestly, the tiers are good. We're good on the tiers. So there it is. Everything in this video was completely my opinion. This was ranked entirely by story only. Nothing to do with meta. So there it is. That's how I feel. I'll be curious to hear your comments about, you know, what you agree or disagree with. But there it is. Okay. See you next time.